2024 is an important year for Oklahoma football. Moving into the SEC, there are a lot of doubts about their ability to compete at a high level. While many of these are unsubstantiated, one of OU's biggest question marks this season is a near total revamp on the offensive line. Many Oklahoma fans and media personalities point to revered offensive line coach Bill Bedenbaugh as the answer to those questions. And while Bedenbaugh's track record in the NFL draft is pristine, I believe there is a lot to prove for him heading into 2024. For some background, Bedenbaugh was hired as the offensive line coach at Oklahoma prior to the 2013 season by Bob Stoops. During his tenure, he has produced 13 NFL draft picks, including Pro Bowlers Creed Humphrey and Orlando Brown Jr., solidified NFL starters Ben Powers and Darrell Williams, and two recent first-round picks in Anton Harrison and Tyler Guyton. In 2018, OU won the Joe Moore Award for having the best offensive line in the nation. Bedenbaugh has produced 4 All-Americans: Gabe Ikard in 2013, Orlando Brown Jr. in 2017, Ben Powers in 2018, and Drew Samia in 2018. Many people attribute the success of future Hall of Famers Trent Williams and Lane Johnson to Bedenbaugh, but both players left prior to the start of his tenure at OU. While Bedenbaugh's record is second to none, there are questions surrounding his success as of late. While he has had 2 first-round picks in the last 2 years, the on-field success has not necessarily followed. OU had its first losing season since 1998 and 2022, and Bedenbaugh has not produced a national award winner, an All-American, or a Joe Moore Award-winning line since 2018. I believe this can be traced back to 2 main factors. When Lincoln Riley inherited the OU job, part of the offensive success was Bedenbaugh's, and while Bedenbaugh himself was retained, one of the first moves Riley made was to replace longtime strength and conditioning coach Jerry Schmidt with Benny Wiley. While we do not know the exact nature of these moves, I believe Schmidt had a misalignment with Riley in the aggressiveness of his program, which led him to take the job at Texas A&M under Jimbo Fisher. This theory is supported by the fact that Riley took Wiley with him to Southern Cal, and Schmidt has since returned to OU. This change in strength coach coincides with the downturn of offensive line play, and after 2 seasons of Riley as head ball coach in 2017 and 2018, Bedenbaugh had turned over his veteran offensive line of years past. I believe Wiley's program was not beneficial for the team, especially for the lines of scrimmage. This had a negative impact on the development of players like Adrian Ailey, Andrew Raym, Marquise Hayes, Tyrese Robinson, and so on. In addition to the strength and conditioning turnover, Riley had primary control of Oklahoma's roster at this point. Under Riley, Oklahoma was known for having the guard tackle pull as one of its base plays on offense. The play, as named, involves both the guard and the tackle pulling from one side of the line to the other as lead blockers. While pulling one offensive lineman has been conventional in football for a long time, pulling 2 at once is definitely unconventional. And while the play has yielded success for Riley and even NFL teams on occasion, I think having it as the base of your offense poses issues that were unveiled in later Riley years. This type of play has schematic disadvantages against similarly skilled opponents. If the edge defenders know what is coming, they can shoot the gap and try to beat the offensive linemen to their spots. Second, this places an emphasis on recruiting offensive linemen with exceptional agility and speed, which may compromise strength and confidence in short yardage situations. Finally, basing your offense on this sort of play would be a tool for opposing recruiters. Offensive linemen want to be developed and drafted with an NFL mindset, so if you are primarily running schemes hardly used in the league, they may choose to develop elsewhere. With that said, Bedenbaugh has now had 2 seasons under new management, and the tides have seemed to turn. Since Venable's arrival and rehiring of Schmidt, Bedenbaugh has developed 4 draft picks, including 2 in the first round. The offensive line development and play seem to take a big jump forward from 2022 to 2023. And while many still question Bedenbaugh's ability to recruit, He has consistently taken high potential players that fit his mold, including both higher four-star players like Eugene Brooks and Eddie Pierre-Louis, as well as lower ranked prospects like Daniel Akinkunmi. He has supplemented this with the transfer portal, landing top targets like Walter Rouse from Stanford and Tyler Guyton from TCU. On the whole, the trajectory of offensive line play seems to be positive. So what makes this year in particular important for Bedenbaugh? The fact that the offensive line is expected to be the weak link on the team. Assuming former five-star quarterback Jackson Arnold lives up to his potential, every other offensive and defensive unit sits pretty. The defensive line landed stud transfer Demonic Williams, and you have returning All-America candidates Danny Stutzman and Billy Bowman in the back seven. On offense, the receiving corps is expected to be one of the best in the nation, and at running back, you have at least three former blue chippers in Gavin Sawchuk, Javonte Barnes, and Taylor Tatum. Meanwhile, Bedenbaugh has to replace essentially all five starters. OU does return Jacob Sexton, who has logged playing time at both tackle and guard. Troy Everett, another returnee at center, suffered a torn ACL in the spring. So while many will point to the five portal additions of Michael Tarquin from USC, Febechi Nwawu from North Texas, Garen Hatchett from Washington, Spencer Brown from Michigan, and Branson Hickman from SMU, there is simply not enough returning to have a strong sense of confidence until we see them hit the field. If they excel, it is simply more proof that Bedenbaugh is the elite of the elite in the trenches of college football. But if the offensive line does struggle, like some expect, it raises questions about Bedenbaugh's recruiting and struggle to maintain consistency season to season, will potentially halt the positive momentum Bedenbaugh has recently created, and ultimately raise concern if he is truly the right fit for the job.